The Tarbuth Foundation presents Israel Culture Caravan. Dr. Avraham Saltis.
Shalom, welcome back to Israel Culture Caravan. I'm sure you've heard the thought expressed that wherever there are two Jews, there are three opinions. I always take this as a tribute to the independence and freedom of thought which has characterized our people through the ages. We've never had a pope or an archbishop or even an ayatollah, if you will, to tell us that this is the authoritative point of view, this is the word of God, the will of God, and everybody else must adhere to it. Jewish authorities have always been in pairs, Shmaya and Avtalyon, Hillel and Shammai, Rava and Abaya. And it was said by our sages that the rivalry between scholars increases knowledge, stimulates the growth of information and insight. So when Israel was struggling toward its independence, there were different opinions in what was then known as Palestine as to what were the most effective ways of meeting the challenge of the British. There was the official group, the Haganah, headed by David Ben-Gurion, who eventually became the first prime minister. There was the point of view of the Irgun, which in its most important period was headed by Menachem Begin, who's today prime minister. And I have the pleasure of having with me today in the studio Cantor Zvi ARONI of Congregation Sha'arei Tzedek on West 93rd Street in Manhattan, was one of the youngest commanders of the Irgun in Israel back in the 30s. Boachal Shalom, welcome to Israel Culture Caravan, Cantor ARONI. Could you tell us very briefly what was the basic difference of opinion between the Haganah and the Etzel, the Irgun Tzva'i Leumi, in methods that caused you to leave the Haganah and join the Irgun?
Well, the philosophy and tactic of the Haganah was not to shoot back until you see the white of their eyes. This would have been fine and perhaps effective had the Arabs attacked in a group, but I have never done that. They were attacking individually, terrorism. They were shooting people, sniping, coming into a crowd that was going into a movie house and coming out. A lot of people stood in between everybody and started to shoot blindly, and they killed 5, 6, 7 people and injured numerous people. So we had no way of fighting back. And nevertheless, the Haganah kept insisting that we do not shoot just anybody because perhaps he loves Jews. We were members of the Haganah until when the pogroms started in 1936. We were all adhering by that, what was called the official policy, Havlaga.
Self-control.
Self-control. It took about 6 or 7 months, and we grew impatient because more and more Jews were being killed, and nothing was done about it.
Where did you get the arms, the dynamite with which to carry on this operation?
We learned it from Yehuda Maccabi. We attacked the fortresses of the British, police stations, camps of the military, and we took out the ammunition.
You were born yourself in Yerushalayim.
Yes, sir.
And your father was an artist and a sign paper, and you told me a story about how you got some dynamite, or how it was gotten from the store next door to you.
Yes, Jerusalem is a hilly place and a lot of rocks, and when a builder begins to dig, he has to explode a lot of rocks.
A lot of blasting.
A lot of blasting, and therefore they use dynamite. When the war started and dynamite could have been used for ammunition, it was under control. The stores that were selling this dynamite were had to build a certain room where the dynamite was. The office was outside, and the room with the dynamite was sealed up with the seal of the police. When a builder had a license to get an amount of dynamite, he had to go and bring a sergeant, a British sergeant, and this man opened the seal. This man, the builder, got the amount of dynamite, etc., etc. Now, right next door to my father's working shop was a store that was selling dynamite. Of course, the dynamite was in a certain room and was sealed. How do you get into it? Well, in the back of my father's store was a window. My friends, without even having told me, and I was very angry with them because I didn't have an alibi, they broke in on a Friday night through the window, broke through the wall between our store and the store of the dynamite, took out all the ammunition.